Good morning. Welcome to our Sunday worship service. My name is Ryan Urey, and I am co-leading this morning's service. I'm a longtime UU member, a current employee, and probably other things in the future. I do a little bit of everything. So if you don't know me, please find me after the service. I'd love to get to know you.
And I'm Fran Rodriguez. I've been a member of this beloved community for 8.5 years, and I'm so grateful for every one of those years.
So I'd like to extend a special welcome to all of those who are joining us for the first time. We're very glad that you are here. If you've come in person, you should have received a welcome packet with an information card in it. If you fill that out and drop it in the offering basket, we'll be in touch to help you find your way into our community. If you're joining online, there's a link on the website to a version of the same card. And our welcoming committee members have yellow name tags and can answer any questions or point you to more information. Do we have any of those folks here? Yeah, we got a few. So whether you're new or not, please consider staying for coffee and conversation after the service downstairs in the fellowship hall or in the Zoom room. Now let's say our words of welcome together. Whether this is your first or your 1000th Sunday with us, and whether you stroll, roll, Zoom, ran, or danced in, we are glad you chose to join us. We are one people of many beliefs, identities, origins, sexualities, and genders. All are welcome here. Now we'll take a moment to say hello across the technical divide. First, okay. Like we missed something. Okay, folks who are attending the service here in the building, now it's your turn to wave. We do have a few announcements today. First off, Alex Aguilar, our tech guru and musical wunderkind, will be moving back to Boise at the end of the month. I know. We have a tip jar set up along with a book of Palouse photography downstairs in the fellowship hall. So if you haven't signed the book already, please try to find a chance to do so. And if you have a few bucks to spare, we'll give Alex some seed money to help him on to the next phase of his adventure. So today will be Alex's last Sunday with us in this role, but hopefully not last Sunday with us ever. Second announcement. In 10 days, on July 9th, at 7 p.m. here in the sanctuary, we'll have an additional service auction item. Jim Frenzel, Margaret Dibble, and Elizabeth Berlinger will share experiences and photos about their trip in Central Asia and the Caucasus from this past spring. Refreshments will be provided. Cost is $15. You can pay right to the church or at the door. And everyone is welcome, not just church members. So please let Elizabeth know if you're planning to attend so that they'll have enough desserts. And Elizabeth, right there. And last announcement, today after service, we are setting up for Family Promise. We're just a little bit short-handed, so if you have some free time after the service and would like to help out, please come out front. The trailer is just right out there and help us get the beds in and set up and everything for that. Here end the announcements.
The land on which our church is built is part of an ancestral homeland of the Nimipu, the people, and the Palouse Fam, the people located at the village where the rock is standing up in the river. It was frequented by the Shitshumsh, the ones found here, located to the north and called the Coeur d'Alene by the French-speaking traders. We acknowledge that the land is held in sacred kinship since time immemorial, and that the land and its people suffered immeasurable trauma brought by Euro-American society. We seek to work with Indigenous communities to show respect and contribute to the healing and nurturing of this precious land and its people. We are hoping that folks joining us via Zoom have a chalice or a candle to light and something to light it with. Let's light our chalices together. In the light of truth and the warmth of love, we gather to seek and seek to share.
The idea of progress is the beating heart of American culture. We like to make things better everywhere, all the time, and ourselves most of all. And this is not a bad thing in and of itself. But when you combine it with perfectionism and a Puritan work ethic, well, ours has become a culture where everyone has to struggle and strive constantly to be better, day in and day out, trying to justify their existence, all the while bearing a relentless sense of inadequacy. And so, in this pursuit of making our lives better, we end up diminishing them. And in our pursuit of happiness, we frequently make ourselves miserable. Does this sound familiar to anybody, or is it just me? Okay, good. However, we can never attain the freedom, wholeness, and joy we seek from life by improving ourselves to perfection or getting rid of all of our flaws, as if those things were even possible. No, freedom and wholeness and joy are just not the sort of things that can be achieved by effort. Rather, they are our birthright. And we find them precisely when we stop trying to fix ourselves, stop trying to become perfect, stop trying to prove ourselves worthy, and just let ourselves be loved as we are. We don't become more whole by getting rid of all the bad parts of ourselves. We become more whole by recognizing that there are no bad parts, and by learning to love every aspect of our being just as it is. The poet Rumi describes this beautifully in his poem, The Guest House, which was one of the inspirations for this service. And if you've been coming here for any number of years, you've probably heard this a couple times. The Guest House. This being human is a guest house. Every morning a new arrival, a joy, a depression, a meanness. Some momentary awareness comes as an unexpected visitor. Welcome and entertain them all. Even if they're a crowd of sorrows who violently sweep shame, or in the shadows with you today. But first, please join me in singing our opening also comes to us from Rumi, Come, Come, Whoever You Are, number 1-8. So in planning this service, I completely neglected the fact that that's supposed to be around, which about a third of us remembered and everyone else pretended not to. Do you want to sing one more time as around? Are we good? We're good. Sorry about that. It's been a long June.
No. No, we'll do it one more time. But stay seated, okay? Alex, can you put the words back up? Okay, so after the first phrase, come, come, whoever you are, that's when the second part will start, okay? And then part 2 sings that same bit. And then part 3 starts with come, come, whoever you are. So we've got 1, 2, and then there's a 4th part. So you'll be part 1, right? This half will be part 2, and then we'll do 3, and then all of you will be 4. Okay? And then listen for so once part 1 finishes, you guys just jump in and sing along with somebody else. Okay, we got it? Yeah, Debbie. No, we're going to skip that part because you guys did great with that before. So I guess it's been a while since we've done this.
Yeah, I'll get each.
Yeah, because I'm still having a hard time processing because this is such a standard one that I just assumed you guys would jump in with the round immediately. So okay, Ryan will stand in front of you when it's your turn to start. Okay. I'm going to give you 2 bars as intro. Well, 4.
So much better. Thank you. Now let's take a moment to engage in the practice of generosity together. For those of you able to make a financial contribution, the logistics are on your screen. We typically give away all of the cash from our Sunday offering to local charities whose missions align with our values, which we call the month of Sundays. This month, the recipient is the Latah Recovery Center, whose mission is to work with people to enter and engage in recovery from addictions and behavioral health disorders through peer-to-peer interaction and evidence-based practices to promote a healthy community. To donate, please indicate month of Sundays on your check or from the online drop-down menu. In the spirit of love and for the continuing work of this church, we will now take some time to practice generosity together. I'd now like to invite a member of our lay pastoral ministry team, Rodney Fry, to come lead us in joys and sorrows.
Good morning. I'm Rodney Fry, and certainly honored to be one of the lay pastoral ministers and serve you. You can contact any of us at any time for a visit. Our names and contact information are on the church's website. We also invite you to a holding circle, a simple gathering in front of the heart, the sculptured heart, immediately after the service, so that we can hold each other in whatever is in your heart. Now is a time in our service when we lift up our joys and sorrows. The sharing of joys and sorrows is a sacred ritual in our community, a time to briefly acknowledge truly significant events, either by submitting them in advance, typing them in the chat, or coming forward and sharing them in person. So please go ahead and get comfortable. Take a few deep breaths and check in with your heart, for surely love is everywhere. Sorrow comes into every life. Each of us suffers losses and setbacks. Each of us struggles, and each of us sometimes knows defeat. Together we create a circle of compassion, wide enough to hold all the sorrow in our heart, all the pain in our lives. If you have a sorrow to share, I invite you to come forward now and form a line and share your sorrow with us as I light a candle.
I'm Alan Borning, Coralie Borning's son, and visiting her for a week. It's been a hard week. She fell a week ago and broke some bones in her arm. So we suddenly need to find assisted living, and fortunately that's worked out. So she's moving next week, and I think it'll be okay. There's been a lot of support from this congregation and other folks, so I'm grateful for that. Thank you.
So first of all, my name is Justin Bristow. I'm not really good at speaking in front of a big people. I did this really bad in high school too. But this is my first time at this church. Aiden, that I work with at Safeway, invited me to this church. So I told him last night I might not come, I might show up. I just have to, my soul is, I've been treating my wife like garbage lately, and I've noticed that to myself and her. So I just had to come up and get it off my chest. Thank you, guys.
Joy, too, comes into every life. Hearts are made to love. This world and the people in it are unbearably beautiful. Together we create a circle of celebration, deep enough to hold all the joy in our lives. If you have a joy to share, I invite you forward now, form a line, and as you share your joy, we'll light a candle.
Can I get the PPQs to come up and join me? Here they come. It is our privilege and joy to give out a quilt to babies who are born in our congregation. Today we have, is it Holden? Holden. Oh, look at this cute baby. I'm going to let you introduce the brothers and sisters here.
So we're Miles and Marcia Olsko, and today's also our 1-year anniversary. Oh, sorry. We have Thamer, Malik, Aziza, and Holden. Oh, it's beautiful. That's great.
So I want my husband to take a picture with baby. He's adorable.
Oh, yeah. Let's switch over.
Get over a notch. Did you take a picture?
I'm Karen Jennings, and many of you know that my daughter Molly's life partner was in a near fatal accident about a year ago. The joy is he got to meet the first responder team that were on the scene of his accident, and it was a joy for all. They got a lot of things filled in from that day that makes it even more amazing that he's survived it. And they got to find out what happened to him. They don't, because of HIPAA, they didn't know what had happened to him. So it was a joy and an incredible, meaningful time for all.
My name is Cooper. It feels like a sorrow, but it's actually, I'm trying to be joyful about it. My kids are going to spend July with their mom in Tacoma. They leave on Tuesday, and it's exciting, and they're so happy about going, but I'm gonna miss them all by myself, so.
Every life, every heart, every one of us at any moment is filled with joys and sorrows and hopes and dreams, with concerns, truly a rainbow of experience from the heart. I'll light this final candle for all that is in our hearts, still too tender to share. Every life, however fragile, is a gift, and we in this community of memory, caring, and hope celebrate this gift today and all days. Amen and blessed be.
We have no reason to be mistrustful towards our world, for it is not against us. It has horrors, there are horrors. If it has precipices, those precipices are ours. And if there are dangers there, we must try to love them. And if we adjust our life to the principle which advises us that we must always attach ourselves to what is difficult, then that which now still appears to us most strange will become our most familiar and loyal friend. How can we forget that old myth, which is to be found at the beginning of all peoples, the myth of the dragon, which at the last moment changes into a princess. Perhaps all the dragons in your life are princesses, or only waiting for us to show a little beauty and courage. Perhaps at the very bottom, every horror is something helpless that wants help from us.
Thank you, Fran. So for today's meditation, I would actually like to try to do a guided meditation exercise. And I know this might not be for everyone. Some people might find it a little too new agey, but that's kind of how I felt until I tried it, and it actually worked pretty well. So I invite you to participate or not as you wish, and to adapt any of the instructions as you need to suit your own situation. So to begin with, please take some deep, full, nourishing breaths as you get comfortable. Next, close your eyes if you like, and turn your attention inward. Look inside and find yourself in the vast landscape of your heart. Look around and take note of what you find there without judgment. Now, as you're exploring the inner landscape of your heart, I want you to look around and find something that's hiding, something secret, maybe a fear or a regret, a shame, an old anger, nothing too big. It might show up as a sharp rock or a thorny branch, maybe a murky pool of water or a frightened creature. However it appears to you, slowly reach out and take it into your hands. Hold it with care and attention like you might a wounded animal. This is a part of you, a tender, vulnerable part, too long neglected. Now look at it carefully, as if for the very first time. What does this missing part of you look like? How big is it? What color is it? Is it strange or familiar or both? Does it have a texture or a heft to it? Does it make a sound? Without judgment, get to know this long-lost piece of yourself. Now I invite you to thank this piece of yourself, to bathe it in love, kindness, and gratitude, as though washing it in a stream. Even if it's dark or ugly or painful, even if you're still resisting that urge to push it away. Let this piece of yourself know that you won't send it away again, that it's safe now, that it belongs here and doesn't need to hide. Tell this lost piece of yourself that it is wanted exactly as it is. Now look at this piece of yourself one more time. And notice, does it look any different than before? Does it feel any different? Is it less threatening, more familiar? Does it maybe feel less a part and more a part of you? This is how we love ourselves back to wholeness, by tending to our neglected and wounded parts with care and acceptance, giving each one precisely what it needs, and then watching as it transforms into the beautiful, life-giving thing that it was all along.
So beautiful. From the moment of our first breath, seeds of pain and contentment scatter through our developing psyches. Some eventually take root while others wither. In my life journey, the seeds that grew the deepest roots, my shadow selves, came from pain, sorrow, and fear. They bloomed into dark stories I told myself, stories I held on to as my truth. The cultivator of my shadow self, my mother, was a troubled soul wrapped in anger, depression, and irritability. She lacked the ability to nurture. When I refused to breastfeed from her during our first face-to-face, she told the nurse to take me away. That newborn baby didn't know how to latch on. Mother saw that as rejection. What ensued progressed into an antagonistic relationship that defined much of my childhood. Mother reacted with irritability if I moved too much or made noises with my mouth. If I misbehaved, her rages drove me to seek shelter inside myself. I grew fearful of displeasing this giant, terrifying figure in my life. Her attempts to teach 5-year-old me to play piano ended in an outburst of screaming when I didn't understand instructions. And when I once showed her my drawing of what I imagined as a beautiful princess, she said, "I can see you'll never be a great artist." These experiences diminished my self-confidence. From the seeds they sowed grew the story, I am not enough. And I believed this. Because I never trusted my mother completely, I didn't always accept her understanding of things. She was an atheist. She didn't see the need to provide me with any kind of religious training. When I wanted to go to Bible school with my Christian friends, she said I couldn't because I was Jewish. She never explained what this meant, and I didn't ask. My friends shared what they learned in their religious training, but when asked, Mother dismissed my questions about religious beliefs. I didn't accept all her answers. I secretly said prayers at night, sowing some positive seeds that would one day germinate into a journey of spiritual seeking. Please understand, my maternal parent was not evil. She did try to be a good mother, but it was so hard for her. Admittedly, I never truly understood the demons that flew about her head. Her inability to love and guide me as I wanted led me to fear trusting others and to doubt self-worth. My mother was most maternal when she read to me. The love of books and education, one the universe right. A new seed planted itself within my being, a developing imaginary world where salvation myself in a safe fantasy world. I did grow up with two parents. My father, gentler than my mother and more comfortable with sharing love, became my safe place. But the relationship between my parents grew toxic. The marriage eventually ended in divorce when I was 9 years old. Before the divorce, my sister and I often hid in our bedroom to drown out the screaming bouts that became more and more frequent. Being a child, I blamed my mother for the divorce. I didn't understand the mutual immaturity of these two people. In my mind, she who screamed the loudest deserved the brunt of my anger and resentment. I shrank deeper into myself. After the divorce, my mother's depression grew. She spent much time in bed while my sister and I relished time together. I began inventing interactive stories for us to play. Stories in which we traveled to distant realms and defeated imaginary foes. I didn't realize at the time that caring for my sister nurtured my own inner child. With effort, a fractured child can mature into a whole and healed adult. Anais Nin, a French-born American writer, once wrote in a short poem titled Risk, "And then the day came when the risk to remain tight in a bud was more painful than the risk it took to blossom. In our lives, we endure many transitions, the largest being adolescence. How does one navigate those often stormy waters? My stepmother, a psychologist, once told me that adolescence is the only time when mental illness is normal. My parents' relationship became extra toxic when my father decided to remarry. Mother's jealousy and anger when my father attempted to cut final ties somehow caught my sister and me in the middle of their warfare. Emotional storms raged within me as I also navigated the path from childhood to adulthood. My stepmother helped when parents couldn't, and I made it to the distant shore. I wrote the following poem, which expresses my journey through the troubled waters. Why, asked the child with her saucer white eyes. Why, she asked again with expectation and amazement, and she ran here and there, zigzagging through her expanding consciousness, singing the playful melodies of the young, touching and tasting, hearing and seeing, and breathing in all the flavors of her universe. Sometimes she shrank into a corner, overwhelmed by her perceptions, and sometimes she expanded, nearly bursting, as she tried all at once to capture every experience within her grasp, until finally she had explored all the contents of her child's world. Oh, said the child with anguish in her voice. She tried to return to the safe, warm spot at the center of her universe, but I don't fit there anymore. Why is that so? And a wave of consciousness swept her forward into unknown waters. She raged and resisted. She tried in vain to swim back to familiar shores. With frenzied strokes, again and again, the struggle played out, each time pushing her further away from the warm sands of her youth and closer to some vague, misty spot on the horizon. Soon a new shore emerged from the fog. The child found herself struggling less as she moved toward this new destination, until finally all the pushing forward came from her. She reached the new land, which was strangely familiar. A young woman stood tall and alone on the beach. Oh, she said, I am home. My adult self has learned that a healthy inner landscape, a safe home, lies neither in darkness nor in light, but in the merging of the two. I am learning that the dark stories I told myself now push me toward happier ones. They compel me, for example, to see all the ways I am indeed enough. As a mother, a wife, a retired teacher, a storyteller, and a spiritual seeker. I use my mantra, I am enough, over and over to remind myself to keep that shadow whole. My sad inner child who thought she was unlovable searched for a way to complete that story. As an adult, when I became a wife, a mother, a social worker, and an elementary teacher, I began to understand the two-sided nature of love. To receive love, I needed to learn how to give love. Every act of giving had a reciprocal component. The loving eyes of my husband, my children, my students told me I was indeed loved and lovable. The frightened child who feared conflict felt compelled to be a people pleaser. I'm learning to listen more to my own needs, and I can say no sometimes when necessary. I attempt to resolve conflicts peacefully when they arise, and when I don't, I forgive myself. Deep breathing and repeating, I am enough, help me to remember when I forget. I am grateful to my mother, not only for her shortcomings that led me to seek a better understanding of myself, but also for her love that I didn't see completely until she lay dying. I often visited her in the nursing home during the final months. One particular day, I arrived with the very book, Winnie the Pooh, that she had gifted me for my 6th birthday. I said hello to her. Her eyes opened, and she gave me the shy smile of a child who's greeted by an unknown adult. I leaned close, touched her pale face, and said in a louder voice, "It's me, Francie." Her face lit up with unmistakable joy. As I looked at this frail body, I wondered how this once fearsome person had become so fragile. I smoothed her hair, and she rested her hand on mine. A new emotion rushed through me. I said to her for the first time in my adult life, I love you, Mother. I love you. I'm going to start to cry. I love you too, she said. I always have. Then I read to her. It took 3/4 of my lifetime to find completion to this relationship. I'm so glad it happened before Mother died. We brought closure to our relationship. Our sad story merged into light and love, the yin to its yang. I'm grateful for the ways negativity has pushed me into the light. Thank you, shadows.
Please join me now in singing our closing hymn, Return Again.
So this one's around too. Okay. Can you do the next slide? This one's only got 2 parts though. So let's split it evenly. So we'll do, this is 1, and this is 2. Okay. So we'll sing it all the way through one time. And then the second time, after we get to return to who you are, that's when part 2 starts, return again. I'm probably nowhere close to that pitch. Ooh, close. Okay, so return again, then I'm going to give you. Okay, we'll start together. Return.
Our closing reading is a poem by my favorite poet, Mary Oliver, The Journey. One day you finally knew what you had to do and began. Though the voices around you kept shouting their bad advice, though the whole house began to tremble, and you felt the old tug at your ankles. Mend my life, each voice cried, but you didn't stop. You knew what you had to do. Though the wind pried with its stiff fingers at the very foundations, though their melancholy was terrible, it was already late enough, and a wild night, and the road full of fallen branches and stones. But little by little, you left their voices behind. The stars began to burn through the sheets of clouds. That kept you company as you strode deeper and deeper into the world, determined to do the only thing you could do, determined to save the only life you could save.
Please join me now in the words for extinguishing our chalice. We extinguish this chalice that it might may it light our paths as we leave this place. May it guide our way until we are together again. William Faulkner once wrote that the past is never dead. It's not even past. Now, while we like to think of our past traumas as things that happened once and are now long gone, who we are now is the sum of those experiences and how we responded. We need not see the marks of the past as wounds or scars. They are rather the forces that shaped us into who we are, like the cuts of a sculptor's chisel or the way a storm shapes a mountain. All are a part of us, and all that is a part of us is good. All are welcome at my table, dark and light, hope and despair, void and fullness, courage and shame, love and fear. I am the wound and the healing. I am broken and whole, the seed and the crumbling leaf, life and death, mortal and eternal. And so are you. Each one of you exactly as you're meant to be in this moment. So thank you for sharing your wholeness with us here today. And please continue sharing your wholeness downstairs after service for coffee hour. Thank you so much. See you next Sunday.